Hello everyone and welcome to my project where I build a CRM system from scratch on videos and hopefully try to show how I do it and maybe hopefully somebody learns from that. So today I wanted to start with doing slide overview of what we have done so far and maybe talk a little bit about the code itself and how it's built and why it's built that way. And hopefully this will answer some of your questions that you might have and give you like my opinion about why I do it this way. And after that we will continue building stuff as usual. So I want to go through the front end bundle and just go through the code and see what I can explain here. So as you can see, I usually use the code folding feature of my editor. In this case it's Sublime Text, but it doesn't matter. And my code style is fairly top to bottom, basically just from the top to the bottom I just write stuff, and it looks like a mess probably to someone. It may look like that because it's not the way it's taught in universities, and it's not the way how mainstream programming is done on the web. And that's one of the reasons why I actually do this series of videos, and I like spend my time doing it because I hopefully wanna help show other way how it can be done, and show that it's actually productive way, because I was doing like general OOP approach in the past, and I saw like over time with my experience that it was not the best and the most effective and productive way to do it. So now my code looks like, you know, a big a big mess from top to bottom. But when I got used to that style, it actually started making sense, and I will explain why. So I orient my code. First of all, as I said, code folding helps me to see what is going on, like on the high level, and I try to keep everything in one file. So I have just CRM Typescript file, and everything for the CRM is in this file, for now at least. And it's very easy to get around because I can see everything and I don't have to jump between like 10 or 20 different files to understand where is my component sitting. And I don't have to pass around a lot of data. So yeah, I just orient my code towards what the computer has to perform. And I don't orient my code towards objects as in OOP. Like you have to object-oriented program. It's like you orient your code towards objects, which is not the right way necessarily. It may be right way in some cases, but in general you are trying to orient your code towards solving a problem that the user has, that executing the code that user expects to execute and to do the job. Basically you want to do the job and not to orient towards objects, right? And that's what I do. I do the job. I just know that I have like some state, right? So we have some state here, then I know I have some constants that I have to reuse, so I just keep them here, and then like I declare whatever state basically I need, and there is like some function to generate IDs, right? For like if I need a unique ID, I just have this function. So basically, as you can see, there is not like a smaller version of that code. Like there is no another way to write this code simpler than it already is, right? There are no classes, zero abstractions, just everything like that. And that's the simplest way to write big programs. And sometimes I have like 5,000 lines in one file and everything is clear, right? And it could be like 10 different files, but then it would be a mess. And yeah, so if you continue with the code, we have our root, and I usually assert whatever stuff I get from the outside. I assert its type, it's defined or undefined, so I know what I have. So I style the element, and then for every stage in the state, I do some code, right? And I create some element for div in this case, and I append it to the root, and that's it. And by doing that, I create the structure inside of here. So obviously these three functions have to do something inside of that, because everything else is just plain simple, right? And so if we look inside of that, we have, let's yeah, so we have like a title for each stage, and we have a body of each stage, and we append these two elements to the parent div. Everything is straightforward, even though like there are some frameworks like React and Vue.js and SvelteKit and all of this, and that claim to be more declarative. In my opinion and in my experience, actually, they don't actually solve the problem, because the problem is not like what they are claiming to do is they are claiming to say that they are making it easier to write code like this, like write declaratively a DOM description, the DOM tree, DOM structure. But it's not a hard problem to do. Like, I can do it in this way. It's not a problem. Like, I don't have problems with defining a DOM structure. Like, I never had such a problem. But these frameworks may like they are not helping me solve actual problems, like real hard problems that I may have. And what are some of these problems that I may have? Well, one of the problems may be that the application is really slow. So how do they help me to do that? I don't know. Like, they don't. Because they are declarative, they still have to compile some kind of algorithm which is very complicated that I don't understand and I don't have control with, and then I'm stuck. Like, for some time they can work, but then some moment comes and they don't help me anymore. So for that topic, you can watch my other video about React and how I rewrote table to Vanilla.js, and I just explained there and compare the performance of Vanilla.js and React and how it looks like. So that's why I don't use any front-end frameworks. And also, when I write in this Vanilla.js style, my code works basically for decades. Like, no matter what, I know that 10 years from now, this API will still exist and it will most likely work in the same way, right? Document create element. And React, for example, or any other pick your framework of choice, I don't think it will exist in 10 years in the same way, like in the same API style. It will most likely change, and I will have to migrate every year or every 2 years to a different version and fix all the bugs that come up. And it may even be gone in 10 years and don't even exist anymore. So that's another problem that they are not helping me to solve, which is I want my code to work in 10 years, and it's a hard problem, and they are not solving this hard problem at all. And yeah, so if we continue with the structure and go inside of that to just go a bit deeper, we define another div, we set the classes, we add the click listener, and we define the inner side of that, inner contents, and we append it. So basically the style is generally the same, so you know what to expect, right? You know what to expect. And inside of that, just another div. So it's very trivial. It may look like not as nice and not as declarative as they call it, but it's kind of is declarative to me. Like, of course, it's imperative, like procedural programming, but in general, like for example, I have these three functions, right? And they are called set model content, and depending on specific function, it may do like different content basically, right? This one creates a model content for creating entry, this one for customizing fields, and this one for creating custom field. So I know that these are three for models, different models basically. And if you look at the high level, they are declarative. It's like I can call this function and it will create a model for me. I don't care how it's done inside, right? But on the outside, it is declarative. Inside, of course, it's imperative. It's like procedural style code, right? But on the outside, I can call it a lot of times and it will re-render the model again and again for me. So this style of code I find very fast, very performant, and very easy to use at the same level. Declarative outside, imperative inside. Okay, so basically when defining this structure, right, we render our own models depending on what we want. Usually we want to render creating, but for our convenience, I chose to render this one because right now we are working on it actively, right? And how it looks like, it looks very, very simple as well. It's all the same. It's just creating some elements, appending them to the parent, and like creating inner contents for them, right? In this case, I use replace children, and in other case, I can use append child. So in general, I use very little amount of DOM API. Like it's not much actually. It's like one is creating elements, it's all the same. Another one is appending child, and another one is replacing children. That's it. Like three methods. Come on, what can be easier, right? And everything else is like, okay, declaring class name, declaring inner tags. These are all like functions and properties of the element itself. So basically web API is very simple, like several methods and properties, and that's it. You are done. Like 90% of the functionality, even in complicated features that I do in production on my day job, they are like 90% of them are covered by these like few properties and functions. And if you take React, for example, you have all kinds of stuff. You have use memo, you have like state, you have all kinds of different hooks that come and go. Every year you have new way of doing the same stuff, and you just rewrite from one to another, and it's unproductive from my experience. Okay, so I think I've done enough of overview in general. Let's just maybe see what we can work on today. Let's just open my project. So let's say we want to start our band server. Then we want to start a CRM bundle. And we want to start Tailwind. Right? Okay, cool. Let's maybe cancel all the edits and open the browser. Okay, so we have the columns, right? We have the columns, and I have some resource not found. Nope, everything works. Okay, cool. And we have our model for defining a custom field. Let's maybe open a Zoho CRM. Yeah, so in Zoho you can click on customize fields, you can click on custom field, you can define the field, and then it will appear on the left side of your cards. Right. And then when you create a card, you have your custom field ready to go and you can fill it. Okay, so that's what we want to do as well. So after saying my text field and choosing the text, I can click save and it will return to the previous model. Right? What do we have in our journal? Today is September 12th. On save click, create a custom field and add it to the card on the left side. Add it to the card on the left side. So it's in the create custom field model. What do we have here? We have controls, we have button save, on click of button save, adding listener click, button save, click listener. We wanna take whatever field was set here in this label field type and in this select field type and input field label, right? So we wanna, let's maybe get more details here. Take value from the select field type and from the input field label and create a new custom field in the memory. Right, that's exactly like precisely what we're gonna do. So we wanna do, we need a reference to that, right? So we need, because it's in different parent, I don't have a reference. So what I can do, actually, I can just, probably I can just save this reference. I can just save the reference. So let's say, yeah, in this situation, because they are under different parents, right? This is in controls container and this is in content. These are local variables. So I cannot just directly reference it. So I just want to create, probably over here, maybe over here. I want to create elements, right? Elements model. Yeah, elements of this model will have input field label and it will be HTML input element and it will have select field type HTML select element, right? This guy. Yeah. And you know what? It can be like this actually, or undefined. So it's undefined first, and then I defined it. You know what? No, it's actually better to have it defined from the very beginning. So I can just create it like this. Oh, sorry, like this. And then I can just create it like this. Yeah. So now I can just replace it with elements model. Yeah, elements model dot input field label, and here it will be elements model select field type. You know what? It's probably gonna be cleaner if I refer to them with the same level of nestedness. With the same level of nestedness. Yeah, let's do as I wanted it from the very beginning. Let's just keep them initialized as they were, and let's just do it like this. So they can be undefined, which is fine, and maybe not even undefined, but just missing, right? And then I will just initialize them. So I will just say elements input field label equals input field label, like that. And then for the select, it will be the same. It will be like elements select field type equals select field type. That's model. Yeah, so I have the reference now to these elements. I can just use it here. So I can say console log elements model and see what is inside of that. So for example, I say my new field, click text, click save, and I have my structure in memory. So I have my input for the field label and my select for the field type. Yeah, so as we see in our journal, take the value from the select field type and from the input field label and create a new custom field in the memory. So let's just do that. So elements model input field label value, it will be field label, and elements model select field type value, right? Field type. And I probably want to assert that they are defined first. And then select field type must be defined as well. So I don't have to do these guys, question marks. So I always have them defined here, and I just fail if they are not defined. And that's fine, because if they are not defined, it's most likely programmer's bug. I should not have a logic for programmer's bugs. And then let's say we want to create a CRM field from that, right? So we probably want to have some kind of type for that, like, you know, like type CRM field equals, and it will have a label string and the type, which will be it's not gonna be a string, gonna be a fixed set of stuff, CRM field type. Let's create this guy. So CRM field type is gonna be text or it's gonna be pick list or text, right? So it's gonna be pick list or text, right? And because this is string here, I wanna now to make it type safe, make the field type safe. So this guy has to be as CRM field type, and then I wanna assert that it's valid value. How do I do that? I probably need to have like somehow you define the constants in Typescript. I don't remember, so I can iterate over them. Typescript define a type from array. Yeah, I want to do this. So I want to say const CRM field types equals these guys, but in array. And then the type will be the same, but as a type. So it will be type of CRM field types number, and this will be the const, right? So now we have array that I can iterate, and we have a type, which is cool. And then I can say that we want to assert that this field type is valid field type. So it says CRM field types includes field type. Must be a valid CRM field type. And let's use assert function. Do we have assert function? We don't. Okay, cool. Let's write one. Assert condition, which can be anything, and a message string. And we want to assert that condition is true. If not condition, throw an error with a message, right? And now, now we should have it as a type safe stuff. I know that this one does not guarantee that, like on the type level, it does not say, for example, if I say it's a string, right, it will, first of all, it will not work properly, but if I say it's any, it still keeps it to be any. So in this case, assert doesn't play much role in the type safety level, but it just plays a role in the runtime safety level. So for me it's enough. Like sometimes I just do these kinds of not perfect solutions, which are perfectly fine actually in practice, because I have a rule that if I do a cast to some type, I need to assert my logic about how to guarantee that this value is actually this type, right? And that's fine. If you do assertions, then casting is fine. Okay, so we want to create a CRM field, first of all, if it's type safe now, we wanna create a field. CRM field equals label is field label and type is field type, right? And we want to add it to the state. We want to add it to the state, so our state does not have fields yet. So let's say fields CRM field array, right? CRM fields. Oh, it's used as a value. Okay, I don't have a type for this yet. Okay, let's maybe define the type. You know, I don't wanna like complicate this stuff. Okay, let's just define the type for now, but with time I can see how I can simplify this. So it will be like stages and fields, zero field, and it will be empty for now. Yeah. And now I can just say state fields push CRM field. Or maybe let's call it field new. Okay, and after that we wanna add the new field to the card on the left side. So this is done. We wanna open the customize fields model. So we wanna set model content, customize fields, which will be the stage, div model shadow, div model container. So this guy will re-render the model, and on this model we wanna actually render the newly created field. Let's see if it even works. Text field, text, mandatory, close. Yeah, so it's re-rendering the model, which is fine. Now we wanna, when rendering this model, we wanna render on the left side all the fields that we have, right? So how do we do that? In the customize fields, we have right block, we need a left block, and on the left block we have one field which is stage, which is hard-coded for now, and we want to render another field for every field in the state. So for field of state fields, we want to create another div, and it will be field label, and we wanna actually do it after we add everything, right? Because we wanna add like this, right? What the hell is that? I have some extension which is keeping failing for me. Okay, I have this karma extension for some reason. Let's maybe just turn it off. Cool. These extensions make me crazy. They fail in random places. My custom super text field, text mandatory, save. Okay, so we're rendering the field on the left. which is super cool. And let's see how it should be rendered. It should be rendered a little bit higher, bigger gap, right? So let's make the gap between the fields bigger, right? And I also can just hard code one of the fields, not to make me create it every time. So I can just do label will be my super text field and the type will be text, right? And I can render the model. Actually, I can render customize fields model. Yeah, so let's now increase the gap. The gap, is it here? Yeah, it's probably margin top, this guy. We have margin bottom here, so it's probably safe to increase margin top. Yeah, let's do 4. Yeah, 4 is probably fine, but now the top is too big. Let's maybe remove the bottom. Yeah, maybe I need 5 here. Okay, 4 is fine for now. So what do we want to do next? The next thing I want to do is ability to remove fields like this. I can remove the field and it goes to the right side. So remove the field and put it on the right side. And to do that, first I have to render a delete icon on hover. Delete icon on hover. Right. So I remember Tailwind had some icons. I guess they are called hero icons. Yeah, heroicons.com. They should have a minus, like this one. Minus circle. Let's put this guy. Let's put it so we have the fields. Stage field doesn't have delete, right? So you cannot delete the stage, but you can delete the fields that are optional. But you cannot delete fields that are mandatory. Oh. And if field is optional, it's still... Oh, you know what? Let's, I forgot, add is mandatory attribute to the field. First of all, right? Field new. So this type has to have is mandatory boolean. And let's say it's not mandatory, false. So is mandatory. It should come from some checkbox. Input field is mandatory. This guy. So let's save it to elements. Input field is mandatory. HTML input element. So elements model input field is mandatory equals this guy. So by doing this element structure, I avoid the selectors whatsoever. So I don't do like element find by ID, or how it's called, document find element by ID. I don't do this because I have them already in memory. Whenever I create element, I just assign it to my reference. So I don't have to use the DOM to query for elements. I already have the elements. That way I don't need to use IDs or classes and query and get all sorts of bugs of that and unexpected situations. Typescript basically helps me with that because I have it in my programming language, not in the DOM runtime. Okay, so let's first assert that input field is mandatory is defined, and if it is, let's just say that checked is true. If it's true, then the field is mandatory. And let's see what we got. See if it works. Oh, sorry. Field new. Is it compiling? Compiling. Bun is so fast that I don't even see if it worked. I expect like something to happen, but it's already done the work. So okay, cool. So let's see. If I create a field and if I say that it's mandatory, I have it mandatory. If I create a field and it's not mandatory, it's not mandatory. Cool. So this part works. So depending on mandatory or not, or mandatory, I don't know how to pronounce it, probably mandatory. Depending if it's true or not, I wanna render this red border or not render it, right? So let's do that. If the field is not mandatory, do not render the red border on the left side of the input of the field. So over here we have our field and it has border red on the left side. So what we're gonna do here is just take these two classes, remove them and make them optional. Class is mandatory, and it's like field is mandatory, then it's this, otherwise it's empty string, and then we just put it over here, right? Let's see how it looks like. Now we don't have it, and if we create some field which is mandatory, we have the red border. Cool. So we are done with that, and then render an icon. Let's take this icon with minus and let's put it somewhere. So over here, let's this and see how we can create it. So we want to create an SVG element which will be icon delete equals document create element. I remember that to create a SVG element you have to use some different method, not the one that I usually use. Let's see SVG, how I usually create it. Oh, so create element namespace, right? So create element namespace, and then you provide the namespace and you provide the tag name, right? Okay, cool. And then to set these attributes you use set attribute namespace null and then the name of the attribute and the value. This is really weird stuff, but well, web is weird. So set attribute and namespace null, then the name of the attribute and the value. So the field will be none, the view box will be this value, the stroke width will be, oh my god, how you do it? Is it like this? And the stroke will be current color, and the class name, how you say it, class? Oh, and you say the class, not the class name. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. And then inside of this SVG we have the path, and it's gonna be the same namespace path, just different tag. And path has set attribute namespace null. So we have stroke round, we have stroke line join, which is also round. We have D, which is this value, like coordinates, I guess, and that's it. And in the end, we have to append the child path. Let's see if it works. Oh, you know, and to append this guy also to the, probably not to the left, but we have to have like a div field container. And inside of this guy have all of this. And then just add some nested levels. Right. And this container will have a class of flex and maybe gap too. Okay. I don't see anything, which is, oh, of course, because I don't add anything. I actually forgot to add, so div field container, append child, div field, and SVG icon delete. Right, okay. So it's there, but it's in the wrong spot. Oh yeah, so we have to justify center items center. Maybe not justify. It is justified, but so because I have margin on the input, I have to move the margin to the container actually. Yeah, and then let's maybe not justify center. Yeah, we don't want to justify center. We only want to center the items. Yeah, like that. And maybe make more gap and like this. And make it red. How do I do it so it's red? How do I do red color? Should I... First of all, what is our red color? It's red 300. Okay, it's red 300. So maybe I have to do like text red 300, maybe 500. And then I can do background red 500. Oh no. No way. Maybe I can do this. No. Not the one thing. Okay. Maybe I have to fill. Well, maybe not. So I don't need background, right? But I do need to tell it somehow that I wanna fill it. Okay. It's probably wrong. Okay, so the most complicated thing is to color an icon. From all the code that I wrote, this is the most complicated thing. I don't know. Black. So this stroke doesn't actually work at all. The fill works. So why cannot I just say that make it red like that? Because now it's none. When I say the red, it works. Why cannot I say red 500? It becomes this black stuff. Do I have to say like RGB color? Some like specific RGB? Maybe I white color. Okay, white color works, but the fill I want it to be not the red, not the one that is too bright. I want it to be actually different. I don't know, maybe I can say opacity 70%. Yeah, looks good to me. Looks good to me. And cursor pointer, right? Now I wanna have yeah, let's just okay, we rendered the icon. Let's just remove on click, remove the field from the left panel. So we don't need this guy anymore. On the click, icon delete click listener. We wanna remove this field container, and we also wanna remove the field from the state. So we wanna say like, let's maybe do like this. And then just state fields splice I1 to remove from the state, remove from the DOM, and we should be good, right? And now let's render the removed field on the right side. So we want to render it here under the button. For now we're gonna skip this search field just to keep it easy. We just can render a title and render a field. So on the right side, let's open this guy and say, okay, we have this button, and under the button we will have like a div header, document with element div, and the header will say unused fields, and it will be font bold, and we will add it below the button, and the container will be flex column. Oh, so it's div button container. Yeah, we wanna do the header a little bit higher, the structure over here, below the button, right? Like that. Yeah, maybe make it semi-bold. Maybe make it light. Not light, light. font weight. Oh yeah, just remove the class. Oh good. Maybe medium. Yeah, now the style is fine. And let's add a margin. So now we have the margin. We have the margin of 6. So this guy will also have margin left 6. And the margin top 6 as well. Yeah. And then we're gonna render in the div right, we're gonna render our field. So here we will probably just keep a reference, right? We will just keep a reference to div right and say we have div left, div right, and we wanna keep a reference right. Do we have to keep a reference, or we can just reference this guy? I see that I have a reference to it, so I can probably use it, right? Yeah, I have the reference already, so that's cool. So let's just append child to the right container. So we remove and we append here, but it's not actually the thing we want to do. We want to render different kind of view here. Yeah, so it's gonna be different. Let's say we wanna render maybe a different kind of div field unused. We can create element, so it's probably gonna be different layout or different styling. It will be double the underscore. So inner text will be like our field label, right? And we will just say like div right append child div field unused. Like that. So we remove, we add here, and we want to style it a little bit more. So let's see what classes do we have here. We have div field, we have the width, the height. Let's just add it step by step and see how much we need. like background white probably, and the border as well. And the padding will be the same. Right. And I see that the font size should be actually smaller for left fields and for the right fields as well. So it should be like maybe text small. Yeah, and the margin should be 6. And over here we also wanna have like text small. And in the stage, text small as well. So we just have it like this. Right. Maybe a little less of a margin. Maybe like 5. Let's see. Okay, 6 is fine, but we need also a margin help, which will be, I don't know, maybe 6. No, 2. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And the cursor, yeah, the cursor will change to this over time. Maybe like right now, cursor move. So it's like, it's telling me that I can move this guy and over here as well. So over here, as well. Right. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. Looking good to me. So this is remove. This is add to what used. We can even separate them in scopes just to have a clear separation. So that way I don't create like functions and like put them in some other place and then navigate to these functions every time I want to read the code and understand what it's doing. I just write the code that needs to be done, and I can use the comments as a name for the function. So I would use some elaborate name for the function, but in this case my comment is serving the same purpose as the function name. And I can even hide it, collapse it like that, so if I don't want to see what's inside and see like the higher level logic. Remove from the left and add it to unused. Right. Okay. So I think that's enough for now. We now know how to create my super field 1. We know how to create fields. We know how to create more fields, and depending on whether it's mandatory or not, it's rendered like this, and then we can remove them and they all go here. So I think that's a good point to stop. We have more than an hour of the video already, so let's just clean up stuff and commit. Okay, so basically I added to the base assert function, and then to the CRM I added fields, right? I added fields, and I added ability to delete them and to add them as well. Okay, so for the CRM, added fields and the ability to delete them and put on the unused list, right? And let's clean up the journal. This is done, and let's commit the journal as well. Docs journal. Thanks everyone for being today with me, and hopefully you like the content, and see you on the next video.